I'm on my feet at the moment. I have received numerous inquiries about the future of the War Crimes Bill, and it might be helpful if I reminded the House of the provisions of the Parliament Acts. The rejection of the War Crimes Bill for a second time by another place brings into play the provisions of the Act. The House of Lords will be asked to return the bill to this House, where it will be prepared for Royal Assent. No further proceedings are required in this House. Well, I think I'll call the Leader of the House.
Further to your statement, Mr. Speaker, the whole House will be grateful to you for clarifying the position under the Parliament Acts. In particular, your statement has made clear that the procedures now being followed come into play automatically following the defeat of the bill last night in another place. The Parliament Act 1911 makes clear that only if the House were to direct to the contrary would the bill not be submitted for Royal Assent. It will be for the convenience of the House if I make clear now, on behalf of the Government, that we see no need for time to be made available for the House to consider this matter yet again. The House has repeatedly made clear its support for the War Crimes Bill on free votes and by very large majorities. The latest occasion was very recently on the second reading of the bill this session on Monday the 18th of March. There is therefore no case for putting the matter to the House again.
Cunningham.
Mr. Speaker, when we debated the possible use of this procedure in this chamber a few weeks ago, I made clear on behalf of the opposition, speaking for my right honourable friends and myself, that we thought the most important principle at stake in this business was the supremacy of the elected chamber of the House of Commons. My party has consistently supported that principle since the Parliament Acts were introduced, and we have no hesitation in saying today, and I say this on behalf of the Shadow Cabinet and my honourable friends, that we think it is proper now for that procedure to be followed without further delay. The reality is that this House, although I personally did not support the War Crimes Bill, the reality is that this House, by substantial majorities on 2 occasions, has passed this legislation. And it cannot be acceptable that a non-elected, unrepresentative upper house can frustrate the will of the elected House of Commons. That would be totally unacceptable to us, and I make that absolutely clear in supporting the decision that you have taken, Mr. Speaker, that you have the support, as to the view expressed by the Leader of the House, of Her Majesty's opposition.
These are different matters because, well, order, just a minute. Order! I take it these are different matters because this is not a matter for me. It's a War Crimes Bill. Well, I'll take, yes, all right.
Following the point of order made by my right honourable friend, the Leader of the House, it may be worth drawing to the attention of the House before Mr. Speaker signs the certificate, which I think will be the next stage in this procedure, to remind ourselves that 80 years ago, in the preamble to the Parliament Bill, as it then was, it was said that it would be expedient to do this because it was intended to switch the basis of the House of Lords from a hereditary to a popular basis. As it's taken 80 years to do that, wouldn't it be a sensible idea to have a delay not quite as long before a certificate is used for the first time in 50 years? And what would be lost to allow the House a second opportunity to decide whether or not that certificate should be used?
These are matters for the Government, and the Government has made its position quite clear on what the Leader of the House has said. Mr. Stanbrook. Mr. Stanbrook.
Speaker, on a point of order, this is not in fact a matter for the Government. It's a matter for you. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, in the interests of the whole House, an opportunity ought to be given to this House to pause and consider whether we really do want to implement this particular bit of legislation and the mechanism which has been installed, which was really intended for issues of great constitutional importance, and not for the very narrow and rather unworthy purpose of facilitating the prosecution of a few old men.
Well, order, that's as maybe, but the position is quite clear. If I may say to the honourable member, the whole House, I am bound by the Act, and I have no discretion at all in this matter, unless the House directs otherwise.
not, in fact, Mr. Speaker, a 12-month interval between the times we debated this bill, and is it not a fact that on those two occasions, and before, on the principle of the bill, there were very large, substantial majorities in favour of proceeding? What would be the purpose, Mr. Speaker, if in fact the elected chamber, namely ourselves, if our views did not prevail, and it was the unelected chamber whose views prevailed on this point? It's not just the merits of the situation, it's the order.
Yes, but you see, what matters of this kind are relevant to a debate, but they're not relevant to points of order. And I can't really answer matters of this kind. Well, I'll take Mr. Grills. Mr. Grills?
On a point of order, and I speak, I'm certainly not a lawyer, and know very little about the law. But I do pay great attention to when the lawyers in the other place of great distinction. I mean, this debate has been...
He may well take account of that, but it's not a matter for me. On a point of order, the government has made its position clear on this. I'm sorry. Mr. Merlin-Rees.
Directly to your statement, Mr. Speaker, which reasserts the supremacy of this place over the unelected chamber. Can there be any delay in the necessary documentation coming from another place to this House?
My understanding is that we send a message to the other House asking for our bill to come back.
You said you were powerless to act, and I think I quote you accurately when you said, unless the House directs otherwise. Could you please advise as to what procedures are open to us to enable the House to act otherwise? And may I, through you, advise my right honourable friend that many of us are thoroughly ashamed to be sitting on these benches and find the Conservative government doing what it's doing?
I can give the honourable gentleman the answer to his question. Yes, certainly, if the government were to put down a motion and find time for it, that would be an opportunity for the House to give its decision. If the honourable member were to put down a motion and the government would find time for it, that would also be an opportunity. They might not have a fine time. Mr. Skinner?
You've made a statement today, Mr. Speaker, about what the House would do in the circumstances that prevail today. There is a possibility, as we all know, that the House of Lords may reject what you have said, and they may take further action. I think it's high time that this House considered, and you consider, Mr. Speaker, that the next step should be to abolish the House of Lords. We're talking about a general election in the offing. What's the point of having a general election for 650 members of Parliament when the people down the road, 1,100 of them, they're in there for life? Not one have been elected by anybody outside this place, are telling the elected House of Commons what to do. Let's get rid of them.
Order. I think that's a point of view. The Leader of the House.
In response to these points of order, perhaps I could just repeat the position. You've made it clear that the procedures under the Parliament Acts are automatic. The government made it clear, both myself and the Home Secretary, in the procedure debate and in the second reading of the War Crimes Bill in March of this year, we made it clear that if the disputes remain between the two houses, that we would expect, as the Parliament Acts did, to ensure that the views of the elected chamber ultimately prevailed over the other house. And the position is quite straightforward, that is the position we've reached under the Parliament Act, and you've made clear the action that you must take. As far as the government is concerned, it is quite clear that the House expressed its view on a number of occasions by very large majorities on a free vote, and I think it would be wrong for the government now to intervene to frustrate the wishes of this chamber.
I don't think we can pursue this any further now. Ballot for motions on Friday the 17th of May.